Mike Fitzpatrick, Republican for Pennsylvania's 8th Congressional District. Why are you running for this office?
I'm running for office because we've got to get our country's fiscal house back in order. We've got to get a budget passed. The House passes a budget every year. The Senate hasn't passed one in over 3 years. It's one of the first responsibilities of the federal government, the United States Congress, get a budget passed. And most importantly, we've got to create an economic condition where small businesses and medium-sized businesses want to grow, they want to expand, they want to hire and get people back to work. So this race really, Larry, is all about the economy, about getting people back to work, and that's what I'd like to talk to you about today.
And we'll certainly talk about those things, but first tell us about the part of Pennsylvania that makes up the 8th Congressional District.
The district is all of Bucks County, so it's entirely within southeastern Pennsylvania. The district's all of Bucks County and part of Montgomery County, the eastern part of Montgomery County, sometimes referred to as the Indian Valley in the North Penn area. So it's about 710,000 individuals north and basically the north part of the city between Philadelphia and Trenton, New Jersey.
So what are the concerns of these individuals? In other words, what distinguishes this part of the state from maybe another part of the state?
Well, the issues of the 8th Congressional District are the issues of Pennsylvania and the issues of the country. We want a strong economy. We want safe neighborhoods, affordable housing, and good schools where we can raise our children. But where families work hard to raise a good family, to raise their children, and when you get your children through school, you want to have a great area so that they can raise their own families, hopefully in Bucks County and eastern Montgomery County, but also where there will be economic activity and opportunity so that they can have jobs, good paying, good family sustaining jobs, so they can build a future and family for themselves right here in Pennsylvania.
Now, a couple minutes ago, you enumerated a number of things you want to talk about, so I leave it to you. Where do you want to start?
Well, let's start, I think the issues in this race are the issues that really are not important to me necessarily, but the issues that are important to the citizens that make up the 8th Congressional District. And if I were to knock on 100 doors in Bucks County in the 8th Congressional District and ask the citizens of my district, what's the most important thing in 2012, what's the most pressing issue on your mind, they probably would say, how do we get people back to work, how do we improve the economy? So why don't we start with jobs in the economy, Larry, and then we can go wherever you want to go.
Please do. How's employment in the district? Let's start with the basics.
Well, the basics are that the economy is struggling. We're in a very slowly recovering recessionary period. It has been a recession which has been hard on small businesses and hard on families and difficult to grow out of. And there are a couple of reasons for that. I think that the factors that caused the recession were significant, and those were problems that were created governmentally in places like Washington and in some of the state capitals. And those were issues that were ignored for a long period of time. In other words, some of those issues might have been government spending more than it was bringing in, government starting programs that the government couldn't afford, government creating regulations that was making it more and more difficult for small businesses and individuals to start small businesses or smaller businesses to grow into medium-sized businesses. On the one hand. On the other hand, just sort of businesses trying to survive each and every day, paying probably for every dollar they bring in revenue, more than half of it going out in taxes. Taxes to every level of government, federal corporate taxes, state corporate net income tax, local real estate taxes, sales taxes, gas taxes. So the burden on the small business person has been pretty significant. Now, I say that, when I knock on 100 doors in Bucks County, probably 95 of the citizens, of the individuals, are going to identify a struggling economy and high unemployment as a big issue. I made a commitment in my district to meet directly with constituents and businesses. I visited 100 businesses during the course of 100 days from the spring into the summer of 2012 to find out directly from the small business owner, what is it about the economy that you're finding so difficult? What is it that you want your federal government to do to create an economic climate that would be easier for you to survive and to expand? And sometimes, the businesses would say, it's not so much what I want the government to do, it's what I want the government not to do. And the message that I took away from those businesses, Larry, the 100 businesses in 100 days, fairly consistent message, from the businesses, no matter whether I was meeting with a manufacturer, might have been a service business, a doctor's office, a gas station, a small family farm. They're all businesses. The consistent messages that I heard is that these were the issues they had with the federal government. They would say, number one, taxes are too high and the tax code is too complicated, making it difficult for a business person to comply with. Number two, regulations. There are too many coming out of all levels of government, but specifically with regard to Washington, there are too many regulations coming from Washington. You never, they would say to the federal government, you never eliminate regulations that are outdated, you just add to them. And many of those regulations require a small business person to hire individuals not for the purpose of producing or manufacturing a product or selling a product, but to simply fill out government paperwork to comply with new regulations. So number one, they say taxes are too high and too complicated. Number two, regulations are too onerous and complicated. And number three, healthcare costs are out of control. Now, one of the big issues in the 2010 election was the President's Affordable Care Act, sometimes referred to as Obamacare. A lot of small businesses did not like the idea that the federal government was getting more involved in an effort to take over that 1/6 part of the economy, which is the healthcare part of our economy. And certainly the businesses did not like all the new taxes that were required in order to pay for Obamacare. But they do remember the promises that were made. One of the promises was that if you have a health care policy that you like, you could keep it. And the other promise that was made to businesses specifically is that their health care premiums would go down, they wouldn't go up. And the experience has been that many businesses have lost the policies that they were able to have for their employees in the past, so that promise didn't pan out too well for them. And the second promise, that the health care premiums would go down, they wouldn't go up, just the opposite has happened. The average family in Pennsylvania has seen their health care premiums go up at about $2,000, $2,500 per family. That's a lot of money in a tough economy. So all those issues, the viability and sustainability of small business, affecting their ability to grow, the ability of the average American and Pennsylvanian family to keep up with health care costs and taxes, while still trying to keep their jobs, and hopefully nobody in their family loses a job. All of that together has created a level of uncertainty in the economy that has been very difficult in this sort of very slow recovering recessionary period.
So you identified a number of issues that concern the 100 businesses that you talked to. So did you approach solutions with these groups?
I did. Actually, I took the issues that were raised in the 100 businesses and I put them together in a plan, which is available on my website. My federal website is www.fitzpatrick.house.gov, but the plan itself is called Made in America. It's a plan to promote and help manufacturing in the United States. A lot of people, they think about manufacturing in terms of the manufacturing jobs lost in our economy, which we need to be very concerned about, and we need to take and make every effort possible to bring manufacturing jobs back to the American economy. But what is often lost is that in the United States, we still have the largest manufacturing economy in the world. We're losing ground, but we have a great foundation to build upon and to expand from. So the ideas that were raised in a very sort of common sense Bucks County way from the businesses that I visited in the 8th Congressional District, those ideas of tax code simplification, of real health care reform, which businesses do want, of having not just necessarily more regulations, but smart regulations that are targeted toward a potential problem that will be designed, to create a situation where workers are safe in their workplace, where the environment is safe and protected and clean. Businesses want a clean environment. They want a safe workplace, but they also want the ability to be able to compete with businesses, not just in other parts of the country, but in other parts of the world that don't have the same kind of high tax atmosphere and burdensome regulatory climate. So those ideas were put together in this plan called Made in America, a plan to promote American manufacturing, and it's on my website. I've distributed it to other members of Congress, and it's the blueprint from which I intend, if I have that opportunity and the confidence of the constituents of the 8th Congressional District, It's the blueprint that I plan to use as I go back to the United States Congress to say, we need jobs, we need growth, we need pro-growth economic policies, we need small business to be healthy, to be able to thrive. And if you want to know what small business needs to be healthy and to expand, to hire and to get people back to work, it's all in the plan Made in America. They've told us what we need to do, and we need to really buckle down and get this job done for our economy.